So a couple of days ago, we did our Team Canada projected Olympic roster list, and you guys like that so much that we are coming back here today with the Team USA projected roster. I'm wearing my Florida Panthers hat because that is an American team. Yeah, anyway. So, Team USA, 15 forwards, 8 defensemen, 3 goaltenders is how we are running this list. So, without further ado, let's hop right in. So as we did with the Team Canada list, let's start off with the guys who have automatically been qualified. They were the 6 players that were picked as, quote, locks in this Team USA class. Let's start off with Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Quinn Hughes, and Charlie McAvoy. So they go with the 4 forwards, 2 defensemen here. Canada went 5 forwards, 1 defenseman, but I think that overall this is a very good list. Again, like you look at these guys, like it shouldn't surprise you that these 6 are the qualifying guys. You have the Tkachuk brothers who were phenomenal in last year's Four Nations face-off. They're known to be good Olympic players. They play good with each other together. So it just makes a lot of sense, those 2 being together. Austin Matthews, again, Matthews is Matthews, dynamic goal scorer. Definitely the injury has been a little bit concerning, especially recently, but I feel like he has gotten better. For sure, he has improved since, those struggles last season started to wake up here a little bit for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I'm sure he probably will be all ready to go for Team USA. Jack Eichel, dynamic scorer, great offensive playmaker. Again, this guy's a good puck movement type of guy. Again, he's a very good player. There's no shock there. Quinn Hughes, if healthy, is a really good two-way defenseman. They missed him dearly in last year's Four Nation faceoff. Again, he is phenomenal there as well. And then Charlie McAvoy. McAvoy, I feel like, gets underlooked with the way the Boston Bruins have played recently, but even still, McAvoy's been a very fun and entertaining player with the Bruins for sure. So, yeah, there you go. That is pretty much the projected roster there for the guys who have qualified. Now, let's actually get into my overall forward core here. So I do want to say this, with the forward core, it's not exactly the lines that they're actually going to be. It's more or less my depth chart. So I don't think the lines are exactly accurate. You can kind of, talk about them in the comment section, but these are based off of my depth charts. I'm not an expert at making NHL lines. I just put the guys down who I think are going to make this team 100%. So you start off here. I'll put the forward core on the left side of me or the right side, depending on what side it is. Anyway, you start off with the top 6. Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk, Jason Robertson, Jack Eichel, and Tage Thompson. So, obviously, 4 of those 6 are guys who I already talked about. That line there of Tkachuk, Matthews, and Brady probably won't be the line itself. They'll probably have somebody else up there centering those guys. Maybe they split them up, but it probably won't be that projected line there. It's going to be likely somebody else at that first line center spot. Again, I'm not an expert at it exactly. I just put down the guys that I think are going to make this team. I didn't make the lines like what I think they're going to be. Regardless, you have the second line here. Jason Robertson, Jack Eichel, and Tage Thompson. Robertson has been a very consistent 80-point scorer for the Dallas Stars. He is rightfully so in the right to make this team. I believe he made the Four Nations team last year. It would be shocking if he didn't. But again, Robertson is a guy who I think is a very star-studded, great offensive scorer. Jack Eichel, we talked about him in the earlier segment. Tage Thompson, again, this guy, 6'7", don't laugh, dynamic, offensive player who has the great goal-scoring knack and the really good playmaking skill as well. Overall, again, throughout his career, he's really picked up and been a solid player here for Buffalo. I don't think he made the team last year. I think he makes this Olympic roster team this year. He was there in the World Championships. And again, you guys know how politics work. When you're there for that, you typically do make the roster. But regardless, I think that for Thompson, who has been a very good, solid, big-sized forward, has that great skating skill despite being that tall as he is. It's very uncommon to see guys be that good at that height. And Thompson has definitely been that guy for the Buffalo Sabres and probably does make this Team USA roster. Your third line then, Jake Guentzel, Jack Hughes, and JT Miller. So all 3 of those guys made the Four Nations roster last year. Jake Guentzel, solid goal scorer, great goal scoring knack for sure. Again, this is a guy who was really entertaining last year for Tampa Bay, has that creative puck moving skills, was actually really good last year in the Four Nations. I believe he had like a goal and an assist at one point. He's been awesome for Team USA. Jack Hughes did have a little bit of a rough tournament last year, but again, I think Hughes, if he is healthy, he's dealt with injury problems before, I believe he will be the guy that makes this team as that 3C. Again, dynamic, great playmaking. Like, this guy's so valuable to the New Jersey Devils. He is going to make this team 100%. And then JT Miller, again, Miller had some criticisms last year the way he was with Pettersson, but honestly, with how he's looked so far with the Rangers, he's been quite good. And again, I feel like for a guy like Miller, he will make the team at that third line spot most likely. Again, good offensive scoring. He's a hard worker, great skater. Again, you're getting almost everything there with a guy like JT Miller. Then your fourth line, Kyle Connor, Dylan Larkin, and Matt Boldy. Kyle Connor was like an extra player last year for the Team USA team at the Four Nations. I think he will be maybe like that again, but probably a fourth liner. He had a great season last year. So I think, again, he could probably make this team straight up out of the lineup. He's been awesome and so entertaining so far for the Winnipeg Jets. Dylan Larkin, longtime Team USA member, always goes to the World Championship games, was in the Four Nations team last year. He should make this team there, probably in that fourth line spot, maybe third line, depending on where you want to put him, or, you know, wherever you think the lines will mesh up. But overall, Dylan Larkin there at the 4C, I think is completely fair. And then Matt Boldy was actually pretty good last year for Team USA. And again, that's a guy who often gets underlooked and has been very fun and entertaining here for Minnesota, despite Minnesota having their struggles. So those are the guys who I think will make it in the overall forward core. You look at my two extra guys there, though. They are two players who did not make Team USA last year. Clayton Keller of the Utah Mammoth and Cole Caulfield of the Montreal Canadiens. So you may be asking yourself, where's a guy like Trocheck? Where's a guy like Kreider? The difference between the Four Nations face-off and the Olympics. The Four Nations face-off followed by the NHL rules. They follow by the rules where if you fight, you get a 5-minute major. If you fight in the Olympics, you're out of the game. So you need players who can be like checking guys and, you know, big physical players. That's what guys like Tkachuk, both the Tkachuks actually, are there for. That's what those guys are there for. They're not there to fight necessarily. They're there to be the physicality. These guys in Keller and Caulfield are not known for that, but I feel like getting a guy in there solely for their physicality, like a guy like Trocheck maybe, or a guy like Kreider, again, I'm just speculating there. You don't need that many guys like that. For the Olympics, you need your best players, essentially. Like, you're not going off of like guys who have really good grit. You're going off of your best players. And I feel like adding in Clayton Keller has been very good for the Utah Mammoth this year, and Cole Caulfield, who is top 5 in goal scoring, tied for second, I believe, with 10, as I'm recording of this video. Adding those guys in there to a 15-forward roster, I feel like would work out very well. Maybe they don't make the team. Maybe they don't play at all. But if they're there as extra guys, you know you can rely on those players. Caulfield, very good goal-scoring knack. Again, I think he probably could make this team in their top 4. But honestly, I think that overall, that's a really solid forward core there for Team USA. It's an electric forward core and is one that I am personally a big fan of. Forgot to mention this in the initial clip, but my shout-outs to other forwards who I think could maybe make it. You have guys like Connor Garland, who's been really good to start this year. I don't think he makes this roster. Nick Schmaltz has been really good, too. I also don't think he makes it. But Cutter Gauthier might. Cutter Gauthier has been really good this year. I just made a video on the Ducks yesterday. I think there is a real, legitimate chance that Cutter Gauthier could make this Team USA roster. It is very possible. So I just wanted to give out those guys a shout-out there because they are on my projected roster for the shout-outs or honorable mention guys who could make this team in terms of the forwards. So then you look at your defensive core, and guys, I hate to break it to you, my defensive core is pretty much the same one as the Four Nations face-off roster. You start off with your top pairing there of Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy. I already explained those guys. Obviously, they will make this team. There's no doubt about that. I have zero doubt in my mind whatsoever they will make this roster just because of how good they've been overall with their team, and they've obviously freaking qualified. So there's that. Then you move on to the next two, Zach Werenski and Jacob Slavin. So these were two guys that made it last year. Zach Werenski was awesome last year for Columbus, has been awesome so far this year. One of the most valuable defensemen on the Blue Jackets. He'll make that team probably in that second pairing. And then Jacob Slavin is known for his phenomenal defensive play. That's what he is known for the most part. He is great defensively, has that good defensive skill, and he will make this team. Just purely off his defensive play. You still need guys to play defense. It's not like the Olympics suddenly turns into just like a offensive barn burner. No, you need guys who can play defense, and getting a guy in there like Jaccob Slavin is perfect for the Team USA. Then you look at your third pairing here of Jake Sanderson and Adam Fox. Jake Sanderson was very good last year for the Ottawa Senators and very good in the Four Nations overall. I believe when you look at the finals, he scored a goal, I think. He scored one of the goals that Team USA had in the Four Nations finals. So Sanderson has been really good here for the Ottawa Senators, and I think he's going to make this Team USA team. There's no doubt about that. And then Adam Fox. Fox, again, a very solid two-way defenseman there. People hate this guy. I don't know why. They love to hate on this player. He is going to make this team. Like, the people who didn't have him in their qualifying, like, you're actually insane. The NHL Network did their projected roster. They didn't have Adam Fox in it. I'm like, you are psychopaths. He is making this team. How would he not make this team? Unless he's hurt. How would he not make this team? I can't believe it. Then you look at your extra players here. You have Brock Faber, who, honestly, like, when you look at some things here, he might not make this team. But I have him in there for now just because he made the Four Nations face-off prior. And then Brett Pesce as well. Pesce, I think, has been good for New Jersey. Those are two good forwards there, or defensemen there, who, yeah, you can tell I'm a little bit off my game. Two good defensemen there who have been in the Four Nations before. They've been in the Olympics. They've played in the Four Nations face-off last year. They should make this team. And again, a lot of it is based off of, did you play in the World Championships? Did you play in the Four Nations? Skill obviously plays a factor, but when you are looking at guys who are, played in these tournaments year in, year out, Team USA will look at that and say, yeah, you deserve to make this roster, which is why we'll see some real surprises here in terms of players who are going to make this team. And I think I may even have some guys who are taken off here. So the honorable mentions here for your defensemen, Seth Jones and Lane Hudson are my two guys that I'm looking at here. Seth Jones was really good last year for the Florida Panthers on their run to the final. I wonder if maybe they decide to bring him in just because, he won the Cup with Florida and he has that chemistry with some of those guys. I don't know, though. And then Lane Hudson, I feel like a lot of it's political, and especially his father coming out and saying those things about Bill Guerin doesn't bode well. So I don't think he makes this team. I think he's good enough to, but I don't think he does. I feel like maybe next Olympics he could make this roster, but with the things his father said, I just don't know, to be honest with you. And then last but not least here, you have the goaltending. And again, I said that with Team Canada, their biggest weakness was their goaltending, even though it did win them it last year with the Four Nations. Team USA's biggest strength is their goaltending. You have Connor Hellebuyck, Jake Oettinger, and Jeremy Swayman as your three goaltenders. Again, I'm really not going to go into this that much because it's the same as the Four Nations. Again, I feel like these are the three guys that they will go with, and I think they would be stupid to not go with them because they are proven it before. They are very good NHLers. Hellebuyck won the Hart and the Vezina last year. When's the last time we've seen that? Like, nobody has talked about how he won the Hart and the Vezina this past year. So, Hellebuyck for sure will make this team. Ottinger's been a little bit shaky at points, but he's been very good overall. And then Swayman has been good this year for Boston too. So I think, like, again, those will be your three guys. Like, I think those are your three. It's not really up for debate. I'm trying to think for another U.S.-born goaltender to make it. I may probably just be forgetting about somebody so very obvious right now. But honestly, I feel like those are your three guys who will make this team, and I don't really expect anything different, to be honest with you. So again, like, I know I had some decisions here that were rather controversial, like putting in Cole Caulfield, maybe not putting in Lane Hudson, putting in Brock Faber in there. I do think a lot of it influences over the politicalness, and even though I don't agree with that as somebody who doesn't really like politics that much and doesn't like to follow it overall, including in my own country, I feel like when I look at this roster, there's going to be guys who may not make it here just because maybe they skipped going to a world championship. Maybe they skipped going to this one certain thing. And the Team USA will look at that. They'll be like, you didn't make it? You didn't come? No. So, again, like, I think that plays a factor there. I think that's definitely something you can look at for sure. I do think, though, a lot of it needs to be based off of skill and just, like, bringing in your actual best players. And I feel like these guys forget about that a lot. But let's hope that overall Team USA will be able to put together a pretty solid roster here and go in and get the gold medal here for the Olympics. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this Team USA projected roster. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like the video down below and subscribe. If you are new, we are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of 2025, so that would be greatly appreciated. But regardless, I mean, I look at this Team USA roster, it's looking pretty good. We're likely going to do a Sweden and Finland video, too. We'll do that probably meshed together and maybe do a couple other ones. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.